Hi everyone, Jan Fursdon here from Fursdon House. I have a new journal to share with you today. I literally just finished it and just spent an hour cleaning up the studio because when I work I make a huge mess and then I get to clean it all up, and that's kind of like a cleansing process for me. So now we're back to videoing. So here we are. What I've done, it's a sewing book journal in case you haven't figured that one out yet. It's a 5-ring binder, and I ordered this book off of eBay, and then I gutted it. Basically, I just used the frame of it, if you will, and then it's a 5-ring binder, so I used the ring part. It is about 64 pages. It has 8 dividers, the original dividers that were in the book, and the pockets, the dividers have pockets on them, and it has a massive massive tassel here. And on this tassel I have, and it's completely detachable, which is wonderful because it'd drive me nuts if I was trying to use that. But on the tassel I've included authentic sewing pieces, not ephemera, not pictures of ephemera, but actual things. So like I've got 2 of the metal bobbins. These don't fit my machine. A lot of this was gifted to me. There's a pair of scissors. There's, what else? There's another bobbin. There are buttons, beads. There are 2 vintage wooden spools. They still have the advertising on them. Where's the other one in here? He's in here somewhere. There's one. There it is. He's peeking around. I have a collection of spools, and I thought, well, it's about time I started getting some of this and using it. What else is here? That's another skein of floss and 2 buttons. But as I said, it's completely removable, and I'm going to put him over here for right now because he is rather large and cumbersome. And I want to go ahead and get started. The dimensions are 10 inches tall, 8.5 inches wide, and it has a 2-inch spine. It has, as I said, it has tabs, and it has these little, I'm not sure, I don't want to stay in focus here, but it has like 7 little charms. They're sewing charms. Excuse me. It's a yarn, and there are a little pair of scissors, and that's another pair of scissors. That one says made with love. I'm not sure if you can see it. Here's there's a tape measure. Yeah, there's a little tape measure. I just had a lot of fun just going through all of my sewing stuff, and I've discovered I have a huge amount of sewing stuff. So I'm going to be making a few of these, I believe. As a matter of fact, it got so chunky. It's kind of, not the alligator mouth, but just a little bit. And I still didn't get everything I made in it. So included in this, and by the way, this is for sale in my Etsy shop. But I made these little notebooks or booklets or whatever you want to call them. And I've used old pattern instructions to do it with. And of course they wouldn't fit in there. So they're just going to come along for the ride, whoever purchases the journal. And I also made, I was having crazy fun, some shaker things out of some old containers that held braided elastic and elastic cord and everything, and I thought that'll be fun. And then of course I ran out of room. So anyway, that will be included. And as I said, it is for sale on my Etsy shop, and I'll put that link below. So I want to go ahead and open it up and get started. I took all of the pages out. I've reused a few of the pages to make ephemera with, and I'll probably do some more of that later on, but and I will put all of the links below to the sewing, the digital prints that I've used. I've used a lot of digital prints for these pieces like this, which they're vintage linen, but it's pictures of them. And I just thought that was so neat. It looked really cool. So I've used those, and I'll put those links below. And then pictures like this. This is My Porch Prints. I remember that one because it's one of my favorite go-to people to use. And then some of the other pages came from the Complete Family Sewing Book, which is another vintage sewing book I've got. But I use the pages to create ephemera. So anyway, let's get started. As I said, this is a digital print there, and I love it. So I just cut around the edges, and I'm using it as a tuck spot. And inside here will go the letter that I always send to whoever purchases that. But you can see how this was printed in 1972, I believe. And you've got, you know, the decor of orange and shag. Well, no, that one's not a shag carpet, but orange and yellows and bright, those typical 70s colors. I just thought it was really neat. In here, this is a pocket of the 8 dividers. Now, these dividers were original to the book, and I've just covered them up because I didn't like the graphics on them. They were just kind of black and plain written and blah. So I've covered them up, and on at least one side of each one, I've got pockets. And this is some more of this digital printing, and I've just distressed the back of it. I thought that looks so cool. So I've used quite a few pieces of digital ephemera, or digital patterns of, what am I trying to say? Digital patterns of vintage linens. There, I said it. Ta-da! And then I've just, on each tab, I've also included a bit of fabric that I've just stitched over there. And there we have the back. And these, okay, I went kind of crazy on these too. I had one that was given to me, and I went gaga with it. I got a Tim Holtz die cut and also a stamp, and I started cutting these out, and there are about 7 of these in the book, and they're basically, I want it to reflect a jar of buttons, because, you know, if you stitch, you have jars of buttons. And so there are quite a few jars of buttons in this book, about 7 to be exact. I've done some stenciling, mostly on all of the pages which are a little empty, just so it doesn't look empty. I don't like empty. And here we have a bit of ephemera. There we go. And one of the accordion, what do we call these? Not accordion. Or maybe it is called accordion. Anyway, one of those fabric thingies. I'm telling you, I'm kind of a mess right now. I've done a little bit of just kind of like a snippet roll. These are a lot of fun to make, and they use up all of your bits and pieces. Here's another vintage linen digital print. Isn't that cool? And I've literally put it on both sides. And in here, this is from an old, let's see, 1963, September of 1963. And it's talking about... the name of the magazine or book, or probably magazine that came from, is called The Work Basket. And I thought those were just really neat to have. There we go. Another one, Fall Winter Favorites. This is October of 1963. I love these vintage pieces of publications. I just think they're really neat. Let you know how it really was all those years ago. This is a cutout, an original piece from a pattern, and so that's an original piece there. I thought she was sweet. This is also a cutout from this one actually came from one of the pages like this, as I had quite a few of those, and I thought, well, I like that, so I'm just going to keep that here. I did 2 of these. These were fun. I did some decoupaging. I took a piece of cardstock and decoupaged a pattern. You can see kind of along the edges where I've decoupaged the pattern onto that. And then on top of that, I added some lace. And then I just started adding bits and pieces. These are real pins and needles. They are glued down. But just to let you know, this is definitely not for a child. But little bits of ephemera. There's a pin here. There's a safety pin here. And then I've created a pocket with it. And here we have another piece of vintage linen ephemera. I just thought I was really pleased at how this turned out. I did 2 of them. And I was really pleased with it. So I got to do some decoupaging, which I typically don't always do. That came from another sewing book. It's called the Complete Family Sewing Book, and I've got quite a few pages in here of that. Here you see another bottle of buttons, or a jar of buttons, not a bottle, a jar of buttons. I had a lot of fun. Some tags there, and I got this idea from Nikki Adigan from Musings by Nikki, and I'll put her link below. But you know, she took similar items like this and she used, you know, stitched around them, and they look a lot more authentic that way as well. So that was, I thought that was a great idea. Put you in like that. Okay, a little stenciling, some bobbin cards, and then it has some real trim on there. Here's another piece. This, I think, is probably, well, it's one of my favorite pieces. And again, I've just stitched it down. And this one, let's see, what date is this one carrying? No, this one doesn't carry a date, but look at that old advertisement. I just thought it was cool. Anyway. This is some cloth trim that's designed to look like tape measure. I thought that was really cool. But it's actually just a ribbon. This is an actual fussy cut from a vintage pattern, about 1960s, I would say, from the looks of it. I love these. I just love them. I think they're just so neat. I could look at them all day long. This is just a little, we love cats in our house. What can I say? And this is just a seam binding wrap that has been backed with cardstock. But it's the original piece there. And this, oh, I had so much fun. Now this, I did 2 of these. I got this idea from Jeanette at My Cottage Crafts. And I thought, oh, I've got to do that. I've got to do it. So what she had done in her sewing journal, I think she was in a swap, she did something similar to this and made it a large, I think hers was slightly larger than mine. But the idea is that you're mimicking a large bobbin. And I put quite a bit of my rose trim on here, so that, and you can actually take this off. Not all the trim comes off of everything, but this it does, so that you can actually use it if you want to. And I just thought that was such a cool idea, and I thought, I'm going to do that one of these days, and today's the day. And then I've kept this open as a pocket. And I just thought it just turned out really well. So, like I said, I did 2 of those for this journal. I'm sure I'll be making more. But it was just fun. As a matter of fact, it makes me want to think, I'm beginning to have a lot of trouble with my hands with arthritis and what have you. And making journals is not easy. But making ephemera is not as hard. So I thought, you know what? I can always make ephemera. I love making ephemera. But I just thought that turned out really well. Let's see. These all came from my friend, and I just went blank. Oh, Andy from Louisiana. She sent me these, and I thought this is the perfect use for them. They're just little bobbin cards, and you can write on them. And I've created a little pocket. It's a 4-pocket one. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 pockets out of 4 pages. I got that idea from Corey Dahman, who shows you ways to use up pages and book pages, and we all have tons of those. And she actually showed how she did some pockets on there, and I'll put those links there. And then I just added here some buttons, and isn't she sweet? I thought that was really neat. And there's that little tape measure charm. Another snippet here. I love making these. As you can tell, I've included several. This is from an old greeting card that I had from ages ago. And I thought, well, that's it, you're going. And this is a digital print. I mean, they look so real. It looks like you actually used the real fabric on there. This is an authentic piece. Zeller crest, 29 cents for how many buttons? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 15 buttons. Maybe even a little bit more, but I think at least 15. Gone are the days when you could do that. And I've just glued it down. Another jar of buttons. Oh my goodness. One or two of them I used as tuck spots, but then I just started having fun with it and gluing them on there. Here's a pocket. I started to put some trim around here, but it was just getting so thick, and I thought, well, then y'all can, whoever purchased it can use trim. New Home Sewing Machine Company. So, and, oh, that's the one that says Made with Love. And in here, this is an antique piece that actually came off of a collar. And inside, I've put an authentic needle packet, if you will. I don't think I've glued those down. Did I? Or did I? No, they're not glued down. So, again, not for children. And then there's just a little bit of string or whatever it is, thread that I've had. I've got so much stuff, it's insane. Now, this one isn't a pocket. The pocket's on the reverse. I love these prints. This is from My Porch Prints. I just thought they were so cool. And now, here we go. And there again is, just slides in there. This is, my mother-in-law had an antique shop for, 40 years. And she would purchase samples of fabrics from in New York and in England, and Atlanta, London and England, and then Atlanta and New York. And the idea was to show people what kind of fabric would look good on a certain piece of furniture. And so she gave me all of these. She was just going to toss them out. And no, don't toss anything out. So I've just incorporated that on. This is my own fabric that I've purchased, and I just did it in, because all she had were the tags left. So I thought that, well, that's cool. This is a real piece, not a digital print, of seam binding. I just like the graphics on it. This is real. And this is not a digital print either. And this came from some crochet work that my great aunt and my grandmother did on my father's side. And I have tons of it, so I'm using it up a little bit at a time. And here we have, these were too large to fit in the book, so I just cut them in half and used them as tuck spots. And then here we have some more that I'm just using as journal cards, really. I thought that was a good way to use them. Here we have, this is an old Sears Kenmore Instructions, model 1318, zigzag sewing machine. Sears is basically out of existence, I guess. I mean, ours closed years ago. And inside, I've just put a piece of paper that you can do a little bit of journaling in, but I didn't want to get rid of the graphics. So there's their guarantee, and then this is a letter to the dear homemaker. So I thought that was just kind of fun. And there were instructions and everything, but I couldn't put it all in because it's too thick. So I thought, well, I'll give you the important piece, and I'll use the other to make ephemera. So there that is. This is metallic Madeira thread, and that's actually thread. You can open that up and use it, but it's stuck down, so you'd have to kind of cut through it. Oh, another jar of buttons. Imagine that. A tag, and that's from those vintage linen digital prints. Isn't she sweet? I've just added a little flower here and a button. And this one I think, yeah, this one's a 4-pocket one as well. This one shows you better. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4. And that was, I'm sorry, it wasn't Corey Dahman who showed me that. It was G. Kerr who showed me, who had a tutorial. But again, I'll put all those links below. And it was just lining up one after another. And then all of these are blank on the reverse. I thought they were just so cool. Let's see, I think I had that one there. And isn't that beautiful? It's a great way of using up paper. Sweet, sweet, sweet. And there's the charm there. I've just put a vintage doily on here and a vintage button. This is another digital print. And this is from the Complete Family Sewing Book. I've got several pages like this. And I just literally put them over. Whoops. All right, you. I've just literally put them over here. And just glued them down. Because I love the graphics. Another little digital print here. And I've just stuck a flower in here. A button card. That's a real button card. With real buttons. It's not a digital print. And let's see. Here we go. This one's another 4-pocket page. Or 4-page pocket, I should say. And I used this, and I think there's another one where it's mail clothes. I mean, these are just all blank. But the idea is that, I mean, people used to sew everything. Men's clothes, children's clothes, underwear, swimsuits, I mean everything, and it was really cool. And now it's almost cost prohibitive because a good pattern will cost you $15 minimum. So here's my other faux bobbin, if you will. And again, that Jeanette from My Cottage Crafts had one of these in hers in her sewing journal, and I just loved it. And again, this comes off. I put quite a bit on there. So, whoops, let me get my card. It'll be just a moment. Get my card and come on the video. My granddaughter just got home from school. She's graduating in May. She's a senior. I'm about to go through empty nest again. And again, this one is a pocket. So, just a little bit of ephemera here. And just use this literally as a pocket. And then some little journal tags or whatever we want to call them. Here we have that other half of the piece. Because again, they were so large they wouldn't fit on the page. And so I just trimmed them up and used them that way. And then here's one. I mean, it looks so real. You put it on the page and you think, oh, it's real. But it isn't, so it's cool. Another piece. Here we have a piece of ephemera that I've just glued down to make a tuck spot. And again, 2 more of these pieces. You have to be careful how I lay this so it doesn't interfere with the hole there. Another jar of buttons. Like I said, I think there are 7 jars in there. And then now this one is a 3-pocket or 3-page pocket. So again, 1, 2, and 3. Can you imagine sewing? I mean, men's clothes are not easy, but people used to sew everything. Get that one in there. I'll figure it out eventually. And we have a little charm here. That's the ball of yarn and 2 little knitting needles. Little printed ephemera, and this is an authentic piece from a vintage pattern. As I said, you know, seamstresses used to make everything. Well, I imagine seamstresses still do, but this was from a pattern to make these little jumpsuits, the little snowsuits for children. So precious. And there again is from that sewing book that I was telling you about. And oh my gosh, it's another jar of buttons. And this is a printed piece. Here we have a piece of snippet, fabric snippet, bits and pieces. And another page from that book. Here's the second one that I made. And again, I just took a pattern and decoupaged it, you know, the tissue pattern, and decoupaged it on a piece of cardstock and then started layering it up. All of these needles are glued down. They won't come out. Well, they shouldn't come out. And on top of the fabric, or on top of the pattern, the tissue pattern, I put a bit of lace and then just kind of stacked it up from there. There's a little lamb, of course. Where do we get wool from? Oh, yeah. And this one's a pocket, and I've created this journal card, McCall 6910. This is the original piece there that I've just stitched on there. All right, go in here. You never want to go in when you're on camera. Murphy's Law. And then again, some more pages from that book, the Complete Family Sewing Book. This is some real lace that I've just put on there, but this one does not come off. It's just decoration. The other half of that doily. And then this one is an original. This is from May of 1963. And again, that's from the book. It was called The Work Basket, which obviously was I imagine a magazine. Another page here. Another page there. Beautiful graphics. This also came off of a greeting card that I've had for 10 years if I've had it a day. And I stuck it back and I thought, well, I'll do something with it. I'm not going to throw the card away, or not going to throw this piece away. Well, now we have it. And this is an original bit here. Hooks and eyes and loops. And here we have, and I wanted to particularly include this in here. It is what I call a writing board. I'm going to hold this down so it doesn't come out. But it's hard, and you can use this to put down behind pages so that it makes it easier to write. You would, like if you've got, you know, let's see, you're writing here and it's going to be a little difficult with all this stuff down here, then you put that piece underneath. And I wanted to include it in the actual ring so that it would stay with it at all times. I thought that was kind of cool. And here, oh, goodness gracious, look at there. That is the 7th jar of buttons in this journal. Here is, again, a piece here of the vintage linen digital print. And this, you know, we use everything. Nothing is off limits for people who make journals. This is the top of a bakery box. I had gone, a couple of years ago, we were having a party and I ordered croissants. And they came in this beautiful, you know, this brown box from Kroger. And it just hit me. I'm saving this because I really like the idea of it. And so it has finally come in use. It is, there you go. It's a pocket. And this, something I was playing with. Oh, a couple of new things here. I've left the print here. I didn't want to cover it up. It says, given to Phyllis Smith by Mom and Dad, 1972. And this particular piece, I did one of these for myself, and it's just the front and back. These are, this is not a picture. They're original stitches because I wanted something to tell me what number and what stitch and what it looked like on paper, and you know, the width of it and everything. And I thought, well, that looks kind of neat. So I just did one for this book as well. These are some of the stitches that look best on paper, because not all of your fancy stitches look good on paper. Some of them are so intricate that all that happens is your needle will literally make a hole in the paper because it's just too intricate. But these are ones that work really well, at least on my machine. And I have a Brother, I don't know what brand it is, but it's a Brother, oh, it's an SQ9285. Now that's going to tell you a whole lot. But on my personal copy, I put down the numbers and the stitch length. So I might put down number 59 at 2.5 width, that kind of thing. And I started to do that on these, but I thought, no, because even though there are all kinds of Brothers, they might, Brother machines, they might have different numbers and so on. So, but at least this shows you some of the stitches that work really well. And the last thing I wanted to share with you, I finally got my stamp in so that I could do a maker's mark. And there it is, created for you by Fursdon House. I was so pleased to get it. It took forever and 6 days to get it through. And then there was a mix-up, and then they did the wrong thing, and it was just a mess. And I thought it was particularly interesting because it's a stack of books and ink pens and stuff. So I will try and put those on my journals from here on in, because I was really pleased with how it turned out. So anyway, that is it. Get this down in my little bakery box cover. So as I said, this is for sale on my Etsy shop. I'll put the link below. It is a bit large, as you can see, and it does have the accompanying tassel that goes on it, which comes off. Can you imagine trying to write with this, keeping the tassel on? That could be interesting. And as I said, also included are the things that I couldn't get to fit in, and that's these two little booklets I created in 2 shaker cards. So I hope you're having a great day. Have any questions, please let me know. I'd love it if you would subscribe to my channel, and that way you can see what all I'm coming up with. And I hope you're having a blessed day. Take care. Bye-bye.